I think that it's fair to say that Sledgehammer's been on top of Modern Warfare 3 thus far through the first week and a half. Now, I know that's not a super record-setting length of time for support or anything, but it's nice to see how much communication, update, and all has been happening here within the last week and a half or so. Basically, every day yielding something worthy of mention, and today's no different because we got our first genuine weapon pass that did more than just increase hipfire control during sustained fire, as we saw a couple of days ago. Today's update gave a bit more than that. Today we're running down what you need to know in regards to the update and what it changed here with weaponry and other factors, as well as what you should be aware of for the upcoming week overall in Modern Warfare 3. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What do you think of these weapon changes? What do you think of the other updates that we mentioned? Like them, dislike them, whatever the case, feel free to let me know down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 3, as we've still got a lot to cover that we haven't yet as of this sort of a launch window, but also as we gear up for Modern Warfare 3's first season and the Warzone launch alongside it. I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage for your year best 35% off discount with code Espresso for the best blue light glasses on the market, but more on that a little later. For now, let's talk about this update to Modern Warfare 3. The first thing detailed, the update addressed a few things that created bugs in the game. Things like being unable to equip Borealis camo, the Zombies Mastery camo, if you completed it. Things like using camos that haven't been unlocked. Things like bugs that made weapon camos entirely too bright in darker environments, as well as challenges for daily and weeklies and camo challenges, giving a refresher to track those properly, hopefully again here. But undoubtedly the biggest part of the update came today in the weapon tuning and balancing category, where we saw a handful of weapons across the rifles and SMGs tuned, to which we saw firstly the Holger 556 had a decrease to the headshot damage multiplier from 1.4 to 1.3, which on paper doesn't seem like a lot, but that does do substantial changes to the Holger's headshot. It decreased the neck, upper torso, arm, and hand damage multipliers from 1.1 to 1. So just base damage for the Holger is now applied to all of that. And it increased the sprint to fire time from 210 milliseconds to 231 milliseconds. So making that an overall nerf that you might actually feel that on paper, again, may not seem like a lot, but in practicality might just be enough to notice. The DG58 saw a decrease in the maximum damage from 44 to 40, a decrease to the medium damage from 35 to 33, a decrease in the neck damage multiplier from 1.4 to 1.1, so almost to that headshot multiplier, now down to like a limb damage multiplier, and it increased the burst delay from 100 milliseconds to 120 milliseconds, so a hefty nerf to the DG58 overall. And we'll talk about how that was actually one of the main focal points of what they wanted to address in the tuning overall, not just in one of the weapon categories. Now, the FR556 saw a large number of nerfs here, where it decreased the maximum damage from 44 to 43. It decreased the near to medium damage from 40 to 36. It decreased the minimum damage from 36 to 33. It decreased the headshot multiplier from 1.5 to 1.4. Again, on paper, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that does make a substantial difference in that multiplier. It decreased the leg and foot damage multipliers from 1 to 0.9, and increased the aim down sight speeds from 240 milliseconds to 260 milliseconds, as well as increasing sprint to fire time from 210 to 231 milliseconds. So a hefty nerf to the FR556 on paper again overall. The Striker, we saw an increase to the maximum damage range from 9 meters to 19 meters. Hefty increase there, an increase to the near and medium damage from 33 to 36, an increase to the far to medium damage from 27 to 33, and it decreased the aim down sight speed, making a bit snappier from 240 milliseconds to 230 milliseconds. The AMR9 saw an increase to the lower torso, lower arm, and hand damage multipliers from 1 to 1.1, and decreased the sprint to fire time from 294 milliseconds to 206 milliseconds, so a hefty buff to that as well. And the Striker 9 finally here decreased the maximum damage from 32 to 27, and decreased the aim down sight speed from 275 milliseconds to 225 milliseconds. So a nerf and a buff here in that regard. But the stated goal of the weapon tuning patch this time around was to reduce lethality on the FR556 and the DG58. I think both on paper again seem to be accomplishing that. Both those weapons now require 2 headshots to secure a kill, and thus making a 1 burst way harder to accomplish. Still possible, but harder to accomplish. And additionally, those SMGs saw some more viable buffs to them to make them better suited in the overall competitive nature across the board for those weapons. So definitely nice to see in regards to weapon tuning that is actually substantial, and again, not just increases to the hip fire control during sustained fire that we saw 2 or 3 days ago. Now, the other changes to Creator Class that we saw was to the Ordnance Gloves, where it removed the undocumented reduction to the cook duration of frag grenades. So that was a benefit that you got that if you just read the pros of the gloves, you would not have known was there, but now it's not there. But beyond that, the only other changes came in the way of zombies. A lot of bug fixes and a lot of smaller things, but one that I think stood out the most was the change to the Terminus AI, or rather that mercenary AI. All mercenaries now deal less damage against the player's armor, and the shielded soldiers now have a slower rate of fire when engaged. That is incredibly welcomed as a change to me, because it felt like they were essentially pre-patch Al-Mazrah AI from DMZ, where they just snipe you from across the map. A great example of this is, I forget who it was, but I saw a clip of someone rifting and the AI from way across the map was still just shredding them in the sky, almost killed them, where they had to dive at terminal velocity essentially to end up evading being shot from the AI hundreds of meters away. Never fun to lose all your armor in 2 shots and to take that much damage, but I don't know if it was just me. One example that I saw here of this was the destroying rocket contracts. Those were abysmal solo, because you just had 5 to 10 AI spawn at every rocket and they'd all just shred your armor all at once. So if you were using something like a pistol or a sniper, well, good luck on trying to destroy those rockets and also get out of there with your life. So this is a very welcome change for me here at this, and I'm a big fan of that. Anyways, that's it for today's update. That's about it, but we also saw a little bit about what's upcoming here in the next few days. We likely won't cover them in independent videos here in the next few days, but want to cover them now since they are smaller things in advance. So here's what to expect. Tomorrow we'll end up seeing a playlist refresh to include, firstly, the 10v10 mosh pit. This is playing on the modes of Kill Confirmed, Domination, Hardpoint, TDM, and on the maps of Derail, Estate, High Rise Invasion, Rundown, Skid Row, Subbase, Underpass, and Wasteland. While that's not these super small maps like Rust or Scrapyard, I think that will drastically improve the pacing of the other maps here that players may very well normally skip in regular 6v6. Like, I'll be honest, I'll gladly skip Derail, Invasion, and Wasteland because I know it's going to be a snooze fest, even on Domination or whatever the case may be, where you have a super aggressive team in a super aggressive mode. But I'll absolutely check it out in 10v10 because it might be enjoyable to have almost double that player count on those maps. I think if this does go well, we could see a chaotic update for 10v10 in the future at some point, adding in those maps like Scrapyard and Rust, but for the time being, again, it is only those medium to larger size maps. Now that said, Rust 24/7 is also going to be in the rotation here this upcoming week, so even though you don't have it on a 10v10 playlist, it's going to be huge for camo grinders. Get those launcher double kills, those whatever challenges you may have that are otherwise bugging you, now's a great time to get those done here in this playlist where it's just pure chaos. Not quite shipment levels of chaos, but pretty close. Gun game will also be introduced here as our first party mode, and that'll be one that'll be cool to see. Played on all the maps, it seems like you'll be able to run through that free-for-all style of in-game mastery and securing kills with every weapon. But what's interesting about this is that the TAC Eradicator has been found in people that were able to play gun game already. So maybe that's when we see this 37th weapon coming to the fold tomorrow as well, dropping a weapon randomly, but that part's more speculation. And the final thing to consider happens not tomorrow, but later this week on the 24th. The True Legends event concludes, so that said, if you want to make sure you end up getting that new camo of the Brave Stripes camo, make sure you grind that out a little bit. It may come back in the future as other endowment items have, but just in case, I'd recommend jumping on it. It doesn't take too many matches to end up completing the whole event, so you should be able to get it relatively quickly if you want to grind it out and don't want to miss it. But anyways, beyond that, not a bad week ahead here, it seems like, for Modern Warfare 3, but that's the update at hand and the week ahead. So that's what we're going to call it. Before we do, though, I want to take a second and let you know about my friends over at Gamer Advantage, which for a short window of time here, Gamer Advantage has a site-wide 25% off discount where code Espresso can stack to give you 35% off your entire order, the best discount of the year so far. Higher discounts are coming for Black Friday and other holiday sales here, but I think only on specific items if I'm remembering correctly. But if you guys want to check out what I firmly believe are the best blue light glasses on the market, now's as best a time as any. I've worked with these guys for nearly 3 years now, kind of crazy to me that it's been that long, but I cannot recommend them enough. They're the most lightweight, comfortable, and durable frames on the market as far as I've used, and definitely think they've helped my daily productivity. Full transparency, they are a bit of an investment, but I think your vision's absolutely something worth investing into. At least that's how I feel, especially if you are like me though, and maybe looking at a monitor, phone, or gaming for a good chunk of the day. If you guys would like to learn more, at the very least, I'd recommend checking out their site to see what they can do for you. They can also better break down the science and all the specifics of their products, way better than I could, but what I can personally say is that I'd highly recommend them. If you guys want to learn more, check the link in the description below. If you want to pick something up for yourself, use code Espresso to get 35% off your entire order. But that, That is what we're going to call it. So let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this update here to Modern Warfare 3 today and what we have upcoming in the next few days? Like it, dislike it, whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 3 as we gear up for not only just Season 1 and the Warzone launch upcoming, but still a lot of stuff on deck here that we want to cover in the next few weeks. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Honest Man Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.